Hey everybody, it's Kendall. It is Sunday morning of the New Jersey National Championship. I had a little bit of a rough performance yesterday. Ended up 3-5, including a bye for 21st out of 23 players. But I'm gonna do my best in the consolation event. I went 3-1 on Friday night, so that sort of evens things out a little bit. My record is overall 6-6 for the weekend, so I can't really complain about that. Getting pumped up. Going to listen to the theme from Sailor Moon and some other songs on the playlist to get real ready to play today. I'm playing Court and 0 Hour all weekend, so I've got a lot of reps in with both of those decks going into the consolation event. Just some highlights of yesterday. The rest of the weekend thus far. Two players that I'd never played against before, Frodo Light and Noah. Got to play against them several times and had some great games. Both of them are playing a Let the Wookiee Win Wookiees deck that uses Kelnaka and some other actual Wookiees, and it was a kind of a fun match. Very heavy space package. The deck unfortunately uses some Kashyyyk sites for activation that kind of left them open for some big drains, unfortunately, but it's a pretty neat deck. And then also the talk of the tournament is this new Allies deck, Revenge of the Sith Dooku, that runs TIE Scouts and the Executor and I think it's called Emperor's Orders, a purple card, to do a million different things, including retrieving a lot of ties and canceling a lot of drains, and mucking things up with Sidious and Dooku on the ground. I definitely think it's winnable with the 0 Hour matchup. Both the games went to time, with me losing to Brian Fred by about 3 and losing to Taco Bill in what was probably the heartbreaking moment of the weekend. They called time right after I drew a card with Ray, and I messed up and battled into him. We were at that point, tied on life force, and I probably would have won on lost piles, although we didn't count our lost piles. But I battled into him with Han Chewie and the Falcon into a couple random ships, thinking that maybe I could eke out 1 or 2 overflow if I drew well and he drew poorly. But I didn't think about the fact that he was then able to send one of his ties used, adding one to his life force and winning him the game. So keep that in mind if you're playing against that Emperor's Enforcement deck. This is one of the things they do is send their ties used. Hopefully today I'm going to at least talk to a couple other people, get them on recording. I got my little portable recorder here, so not trying to do a giant 3 questions thing or anything, but hopefully, but I'll put in any messages from anybody that fits with the rest of the thing. Enjoy what we got coming. Thanks.
My name's Matt Manning, and my biggest takeaway from this weekend is it's all about the friends you made along the way, and that sometimes it's not about playing cards, but it's about hanging out with people you only get to see once a year. So really glad I made the trip out. Thanks, Ken.
Hello, everyone. My name is AJ Hatum. I think my biggest takeaway from this weekend was to not face Emperor's Orders ever again with Luke Saga, because I got mopped yesterday by it. That's my takeaway.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm Brandon Beatty, and my biggest takeaway from this weekend is that Dark Deal is very fast in the proper hands, and Orbital Bombardment sucks when playing against it.
All right, so I'm about 11 hours into the trip home. Ended the weekend at 500 at 9-9, 9 wins, 9 losses. As long as you include the bye that I got in the main event. Managed to tough it out until the last round and get the bye in the last round. So I guess that's a good time to get the bye in the main event. But so Friday night went 3-1. Saturday went 3-5, and Sunday I went 3-3. I think on a previous thing I mentioned the highlights of the events of the main event and the warm up event. I'm trying to think if there were any real major highlights of the consolation. So lost to Gogolin on time. He had 6 cards. He was playing Hitco, had 6 cards stacked on I Feel the Conflict, and just lost by another game. I think that was the fourth one where I lost on time and just by a few cards. So either means I need to play faster or play slower. I'm not sure which. I played. I got a win against Blake Silkwood, where I think that I think he was a little bit frustrated with me because I was making a lot of mistakes and had 2 or 3 reverts in the game that he was nice enough to grant me, but I think he seemed a little frustrated with the loss. He was playing. I'm trying to think what he was playing. I don't even remember. Something with Grand Moff Tarkin in it. So this is actually the big one. Was I played against Brandon Beatty, and my 0 hour versus his Dark Deal virtual. And right before it started, I asked Taco Bill what I should do in this matchup, and he tells me to spread, because he's pretty unlikely to come at me on Lothal, and I'll be able to outdamage him. They only have the one ship for the most part, so I can spread my ships to the other sites. And I did deploy pretty aggressively. I think I put Hera and Kanan down on the first turn, and I had a dodge in hand. And maybe it was a couple turns, but I had Hera. I had not flipped yet, but I had Hera, or maybe I had flipped. I think I did flip. But I had Hera in ship, Kanan on the ground, Sabine on the ground, and I had put Jin on Cloud City as an undercover spy to reduce his damage. And so he drops a stack of guys in front of Kanan. I play dodge. He cancels the dodge. I do not have the Hujix, and I take 19 overflow and concede the game immediately. I gave Taco Bill a hard time about that. He said that that it would have been good, that would have been good advice, except for when he saw me play the Jin. on as an undercover spy that telegraphed that I almost certainly wasn't coming to Cloud City, so he could play as little as he could on Cloud City and then come after me there. And it made me kind of think about, because like a big thing, my question was, what's the takeaway from the weekend? And a lot of my big takeaway is like kind of asking myself, what can I do? What is the next layer of Star Wars CCG knowledge and tactics and strategy and all this stuff? What are people doing that is the next level up? And knowing, the early game, 0 Hour is a deck that sometimes gets blown out. It just is. And in the early game, and you want to do what you can to mitigate that. So you do, but you do have to ask yourself what happens if they cancel. So in this case, I tried to dodge, he canceled the dodge, and then I had nothing. Why? Should I have? The question is, should I have expected the dodge to go through, or should I have waited another turn to spread? Should I have not deployed Jin and drawn those 4 cards, and maybe I would have gotten, another defensive card? That's the kind of stuff that I need to be thinking about, I think. And then the other thing of note was, after everything was over, at the end of the day, Hayes Hunter crowned national champion over Sam Tashima. Obviously great players, both of them, and probably the rest of the top 8 was great too. I don't know. Brian Fred and Matt Scott both made top 8, so I'm always happy to see them up there. But AJ was playing against Jeff Levine, I hope that's his last name, and getting a little bit of coaching from Phil Asen. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name. I do remember that when I interviewed him, he told me how to pronounce it, and I still pronounced it wrong. But anyway, I saw them playing, and I kind of watched. And they were all, everybody was coaching AJ and really talking to him about, okay, so what the top 4 destinies are of your reserve deck now. What are they? And AJ has like 7, 5, 6, 2 or whatever, and just really, making sure that he had like a couple people watching, making sure that every single move that he made was correct. And if he wasn't sure about a move, they talked about what he should be thinking about. And I found it all very, very interesting. And they finished the game, and it kind of, I don't know, I wanted more. So I said, hey, can one of you guys show me how to play Endor Ops? Because that's, a deck that I don't know how to play. And so that was the deck that AJ had been playing. They switched sides, and Jeff walked me through the beginning of Endor Ops. And what I've always said about Endor Ops is that I don't like playing lawful evil decks. I don't like playing decks that feature Imperials. And the thing that I didn't really think about is that Endor Ops isn't really thematically a lawful evil deck. It's a thematically nothing deck. It is a bottom-up deck design, because you're using Boba Fett, you're using Kylo, Vader, and Maul at the same site. It's basically a mains deck, really, if anything. So got a good feel for it. The gist is you get your beginning of the game pull chain, which I don't know off the top of my head, but I think is not as complicated as it looks. And you end up with Boba Fett in space on the Slave 1, which you get with your starting interrupt, any methods necessary, along with with Admiral Ozzel as his co-pilot. And then, at least against mains, this was him teaching me how to play against mains with it. You see where they deploy. You wait for them to deploy because they can't really come after you in space, at least not early on, and you're paying to drain for 2. You wait for them to deploy somewhere, so maybe they're paying to drain for 3. But then you deploy at a different battleground, because you got a few battlegrounds and they maybe have a battleground. And then you're not paying to drain, they are paying to drain, and you just sort of react to them all game. It was a very very interesting, and I'm definitely gonna try to get some reps in with it. Because that's another thing is the more decks that you know how to play, the more that you have in your repertoire, the more likely you are to be able to assess the meta and play the best deck for that meta. And it also, I've always felt that a good way to learn how to beat a deck is to lose with that deck, because you see, especially if you're, at least a mediocre player like me. There's a lot of other mediocre players. Maybe if you're playing against somebody, maybe it's their first time playing that deck or whatever, and they leave themselves open in the same way that you would leave yourself open on an attempt. I don't know. This is just me rambling a bit, but yeah, it was a good weekend. But yeah, I had dinner with some new allies and got to kind of talk to them. I roomed with Brandon Beatty, who is somebody that I've interacted with a handful of times, but never really had a lot of long conversations. And he seems like a really interesting person. It was really good getting to know him a little bit better, and losing to him. But yeah, overall a pretty good weekend. Glad I went. It's beaten. Everybody in the community that goes to a major says you should go to a major. If you're thinking about going to a major, go to a major. I would just say, do your best to prepare for a major, or prepare to lose a lot, because these are where the best of the best players play. So, just yeah. Also, they did a retro event that had 8 players. So, that was I feel like that's pretty good for that. Anyway, I'll sign off. The butt kicker. I don't know how bad it's being picked up on the microphone. There we go. I think I'm not running over the butt kicker now. Good luck, have fun, and no reverts. This podcast is a production of the KendallCast Podcast Network. You can support the show for just $2 a month at patreon.com/KendallCast, or make a direct donation through the PayPal link at kendallcast.ninja. Every little bit helps.